at the end of this stream, close to it, I'm going to talk about something that was very interesting that happened in my state of Florida, and the law. So we're going to get going. We're going to get cracking on this. I'm tired, but hey, we got to push through, because even if you go to work tired, you got to push through on that day. And also be careful depending on what kind of job that you do, so you don't mess anything up. But this is supposed to be a live stream. It's probably not a live stream, and I'm just recording. I'm gonna have to post this video because everything is out of whack right now. I got to check out my computer speed. I might have to do some cleaning up, but then also I might have to check out my internet speed too. And it doesn't help that everybody's connected to the Wi-Fi. So I might have to do the hardwire to my computer, just so I can be able to stream without having an issue with it disconnecting or whatever, which I'm just going to post this video afterwards. So if it doesn't show on YouTube, or if it is showing on YouTube and you see the buffering and everything, best believe that I'm going to put a cleaner, more smooth version out here for you. So let's talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion and my experience with that. So back when I first moved to the state of Florida in 2015, of course, my wife, she stayed in Kentucky because she was finishing up nursing school, let's just say. And, I came here first because I have a really good friend. He's like my brother that was in the Navy here. He actually got us down here from Kentucky because this was his first deployment, was to Florida. And so he was like, come on and check it out and everything. And I was on the job hunt. I had left my job in Kentucky because I knew that, this was a staffing company. So they wouldn't be able to, there wasn't any staffing companies that they owned in the state of Florida. So I had to, come down here and get some things in motion in regards to my position and my job and my experience with being a recruiter and a manager and, everything else like human resources and all that. So I was on the beat. I was on the hunt for a job. I was applying, and I was just, trying to find jobs that required us to be in a supervisor or managerial position. So I was applying to jobs and everything. And, I'm the type of person is it doesn't matter who you are. If you come to do the job, you do the job and you get it done. Don't matter what you look like. Don't matter, what's your, your background. I'm not going to dive into what that is, but what your preference is basically. And so, I was just on a beat looking for a job. And so I get to this, let's say this facility where I was going to be a quality assurance auditor per se. Mind you, when I applied for the job, it didn't really give a definition of what the salary or the hourly pay would be. And so I go to this interview, right? And I'm looking in the little warehouse area where, you do quality assurance and, counts and things like that. And it was a diverse group of people, let's just say. And in this diverse group of people, the ones that were calling the shots didn't look like me. The ones that were calling the shots were the paler color. And I don't want to throw that out in regards to saying that the person that's qualified for the job that looks white doesn't deserve that job. I'm just saying the positions and powers to be were the ones that look white, that was directing everyone else that was diverse when it came to the job. So with the interview, let's just say with the interview, I go in, I'm knocking it out in the interview. And the young guy who was actually part owner of the company, it was a decent sized company. The young guy was like, well, what kind of salary are you looking for? And in the title of the position, it seemed like it was going to be a decent paying job in regards to the title. And I said, well, I'm a type of person that, you hit the ground running. Sometimes you take a pay cut in regards to trying to get into a position where you can move up. And then, you can gradually increase your hourly or your yearly salary. Excuse me. I couldn't say that for a second. And so what happened was he was like, So what kind of numbers? Give me a number what you would think. I said, well, let's just talk about hourly for the particular type of job and the particular experience that I have, and also my background. I believe that I, could deserve a $17 an hour position, let's just say. And the guy looked at me and he was like, oh, well, I hate to break it to you, but we were actually looking for this type of position to be like a $9.50 hour job. And my mouth just dropped, because it was like, whoa. Well, you need to change the title of that particular job description, because the job description can be confusing in regards to people that are applying that may be someone that was making $18, $20 an hour. You know what I'm saying? And I just told him that. I was honest with him. I was like, no, this is not the job for me. I kept it real with him. Go down the road, some time go by, maybe several days go by, and I get another contact call. This one was for a staffing company. And with this staffing company, basically, I was going into this staffing company dressed up, ready. It was the same type of job that I was doing back in Kentucky. I was going to be a recruiter. Okay. I was going to be a recruiter when it came to it. And so I go to the interview, and it's me and another guy. Me, the black guy, and the other guy, the white guy. Okay. It was just him and I. We were basically like the two people left in regards to interviewing, or two people that they were considering because of our resumes. Now, mind you, my resume is legit. I keep it tight, as far as my job experience and everything else. So I go through the interviewing process, and of course, I did a great job with the interview. I did an excellent job with the interview. I didn't get the job. Let's just put it like that. They gave it to the other individual after, the assessment testing and all, which was, pretty crazy when it comes to the assessment test with being a recruiter. And I didn't get the job. They gave the job to the other person. And I'm not going to say that race played a factor, but I think there were several different things to play a factor when it came to the job. When I went into the facility, when I went into the building, there were 6 or 7 people that were working there, and those 6 or 7 people did not look like me. So you can kind of get an idea of what I'm coming with this. And also, it was just, the women were at the desk work, and the men were out the ones that were handling the field work. So you can see the dynamic when it came to it, and the positions, let's just say. I don't know what the desk person's salary would be, or I don't know what the person that was out in the field would be, but with a staffing company, you can get paid pretty well. And so I didn't get the job. I actually got a job as a supervisor in a hospital facility, a big major hospital facility. And, lo and behold, I get an email 5 or 6 months later. Let's just put it like that. And this was the owner or manager of or director of the staffing company asking me if I'm still looking for a job. Of course not. I'm not. And at this time, I actually got a promotion. So I was a distribution manager. I was a director, kind of, sort of, without the pay. Get what I'm saying? In another hospital facility where I actually was over the hospital facility and taking care of, me and my employees, making sure that deliveries were made in regards to linen and stuff like that. And so they reached out to me asking or checking to see if I was still looking for a job. And I replied back and said, no, I'm not looking for a job now. I'm actually working. And the owner of the staffing company sent another message out to me saying, if you don't mind me asking, what are you doing? And I told him, and my title was a pretty nice title. Even though my salary wasn't amazing, it was still okay. Let's just put it like that. And I never heard back from that person. Never heard back from him. So basically what happened, possibly what I was thinking is that this person did not pan out. This person did not work out. Either they quit or something else, but they didn't work out. And it was like, okay, me, the person that has a really strong resume, the person that has always been reliable for the jobs that I've had, working several years with the companies. And I didn't know what this guy's resume looked like. However, I do know that if I look different in regards to going for that interview, I might have got that job. However, I was overlooked, and I am going to throw the particular color out in it when it comes to it, because it is part of the inclusion factor and diversity. So let's touch on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'm going to tie two things together with this. I'm going to tie diversity, equity, and inclusion because I feel and believe that in this country, everybody has a right to get a position that may pay them very well and not have to worry about the color of their skin. A person named that is Jamal, we know what color a Jamal may be. That application should not be overlooked because of the person's name. The Chardonnay, now excuse me, I know there might be some Chardonnays out there, but the Chardonnay, that person's resume shouldn't be overlooked because of the name. And that's what we get when it comes to corporate America. And when it comes to positions of a higher position, let's just say, we get those individuals that are overlooked because of their name sound. It's no different than what happened back in the 60s when it came to redlining. It's no different when Martin Luther King was out there trying to promote civil rights and, equality for everyone, diversity for everyone. And that's the problem that we have. And that's something that I'm going to keep talking about until my last breath, because my children, they should be able to have the right to get a job no matter what they look like, because they are going to be hard workers. My oldest son is a very hard worker, and that's what he was raised and taught to be, was somebody that worked hard. But let's dive into diversity, equity, and inclusion real quick, because I do want to talk about the definition, and then we're going to talk about those California fires and the blame game. So without further ado, we're going to keep it rolling, y'all, because I know, man, this live stream, and I'm gonna have to get it together, and I do apologize. But let's go over to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And as you can see, diversity, equity, and inclusion are organizational frameworks which seek to promote the fair treatment and full participation of all people, particular groups who have historically been underrepresented or subject to discrimination on the basis of identity or disability. OK, so you can keep reading on to this. This is off of Wikipedia, and I really like Wikipedia. And I know that there are people that are trying to go after Wikipedia for the truthful information, the definitions and everything else, and not having, they're posting facts here. And when it comes to facts, we need to know the facts, because we can't go out here in reality being misinformed about specific things. And then something happens to ourselves. Something happens to ourselves where we end up getting hurt or getting someone else hurt. OK, so we hear this talk about the California fires, and it is very sad regarding the California fires. I think it's the Palisades or something like that everything is going on. And you hear the particular blame game when it comes to it. You hear the blame game of diversity, equity, and inclusion being the factor of why the fires have started, or women who have a sexual preference of another woman are the reason why these fires are happening. And you really hear that coming from the right wing, your Charlie Kirks, your Marjorie Taylor Greens, maybe even Lauren Boebert is talking about that. I can't stand her name, and I jack it up every time that I talk. So Lauren Boebert maybe even talking about that. Mark Wayne Mullen. Those particular type of individuals that are talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Let me tell you something. Let me just be completely 100% transparent with you. If somebody who is gay, transgender, black, white, Asian, Mexican, I don't care what color they are, if they want to be a fighter, they have that right to be without being judged, or when a disaster happens, they are to be the blame. Case in point, you have to be a very nasty individual if you are trying to point the fingers and make a blame or cast a blame on people, especially women, when it comes to them being in a first responder position and even at a higher position. There's something wrong with you. And I'm not pointing at you particularly saying there's something wrong with you, but if you're watching this video and you have a problem with someone in that particular area, a woman that is a chief as a firefighter, and something happens and you're pointing the finger at them because they have a wife, you got some issues. And, if you want to throw in religion on that, by all means, help yourself, because religion is not a factor to me when it comes to people trying to save other people's lives. That's what they're there to do. Do not try to blame the governor. Do not try to blame the captains, whomever. Just like in Louisiana, where we have bigots that are talking about one of the captains who has a nose ring, or the investigator, whatever. And they have a problem with that. Yet they are, let the investigation play out instead of making assumptions. Case in point on that. Case in point. Because guess what? If they are a first responder, a police officer, a nurse, someone in the military, they are trying to serve their country and save people. Basically what I have to say on that, because it really ticks me off in regards to what people say and what people are doing when it comes to the hatred, man. It's just straight up hatred. It's straight up hatred for people to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion because of a disaster that happened. They're casting the blame and pointing the fingers at the color of people's skin, their sexual preferences, or a woman who is in a position as a captain and a leader. America, wake up. Really? Listen, let me tell you something else. I was talking to one of my good friends. He was in the military. And I asked him the question. I said, man, did you really face any kind of racism or anything like that with your captains or anything? Did you really have any experiences with that? And I just wanted to prick his brain. And he said, no, I really didn't. I'm not saying that there wasn't any kind of bias or issue with it. But the people that really caught most of the heat were women and people who had a sexual preference of the same sex. Those were the people that caught most of the heat. And by all means, if somebody is going to fight for our country, excuse me, I'm going to let them fight for us, because I'm not going. Don't call me a coward if you want, because I tell you what, I can back it up. I went to college and played college football. I had the experience of having the college experience, let's just say, which is an interesting and fun experience that I did talk about a long time ago when I first started this channel, until my mind started to see all the ills of this country to where I had to change my niche and my platform to be able to get the word out to all the young individuals, the middle-aged individuals, and the old individuals on how I feel and how I see people living, and how I see how we have people who are very much so hypocrites in this country. Very much so hypocrites. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as affirmative action and so on, is important to have, because I tell you what, I would love to be able to work with people that do not look like me, that came from a different culture, so I can understand and learn their culture and not have it where it's whitewashed with just the male white ecosphere. So if you got a problem with diversity, equity, and inclusion, if you're watching my channel right now and you want to post a comment, help yourself and post a comment, but I'm going to give you a rebuttal. When I was a manager, I had pretty much, it seemed like doggone near every race. I had no problem with that. Male and female, gay, trans, don't matter. We just needed them to do the job and do it effectively. Didn't matter what they look like. But the problem that we have in our country is that everybody wants to control the other person. How about you take care of yourself and then you try to do your best to take care of your neighbor, no matter what they look like? Because we're not going anywhere. We're not. I don't care who's going in office in 2025. These things that are being implemented and put in place is to try to wipe a society out that is not Anglo-Saxon Christian, nationalist, white. My wife, I love her unconditionally. She's a strong woman, and she does her best to try to love and respect everybody, no matter how evil they may be to her. And I'm going to tell you something. she does her best as a Christian woman to love better than me. I still have those football ways when we went against our rival team, University of Kentucky, where we just didn't like each other on the field and sometimes even off the field. But let's just dive on to some other things that I wanted to talk about. Let's talk about Mr. Bruce Fisher. Bruce Fisher, Deb Fisher's husband, who decided and denied a handshake with Kamala Harris and couldn't even give her eye contact. What a coward. What a coward. He couldn't give her eye contact. You know why? Let me tell you. I'm going to tell you exactly why. Because the hatred, the bigotry, the chauvinistic, the hate for women, especially black women, is so strong right now because of the talking points, the rhetoric from people like Charlie Kirk, Nick Fuentes, and all those guys, all those Republican individuals who talk down on people like me and definitely talk down on women like my wife. It is sickening. It is sickening. Shame on that individual. Shame on Bruce Fisher. And I heard that he's a professor at a college. I tell you what, if I was enrolled in this class, I would immediately drop that class. I don't care. Every person should be treated respectfully, no matter what political party leanings they come from. But I'm going to tell you this. It's very hard to respect people that talk hate, that lie and rob and steal from the American people only to give to the rich. I just cannot be able to shake or have a conversation with a particular person like that because they're not for themselves. And I'm pretty sure you guys might know who I'm talking about. We're not going to touch more into that because I want to keep pressing on. And I thank you for hanging tight with me because I have a lot to talk about. There's a lot on my mind from just this week when it comes to it. The world we live in, the country we live in. Anyways, I know I am rambling on here, but I would like to ask if you are enjoying what you're listening to, you're enjoying my rant and my feelings and my expressions and everything that is going on. Go ahead and, give me a like, post a comment in the comment section, subscribe to the channel. That would definitely be appreciated. Definitely be appreciated. So, I'm going to be better prepared next time, honestly, because this whole, I thought I had it going. I was excited for it and it didn't really work for the live. But like I said, we just going to chalk it up and do better the next time with this podcast. But I did want to talk about this issue that we're having with the homeless crisis, too. Homelessness is up 18%. Well, it's 18% in this world. Excuse me. Not in this world, because it's a lot worse than many other places like where is that place at where Javier Milei is at? Argentina, whom Elon Musk tries to praise and say that America needs to be like that. I believe that Argentina right now is at 53% homelessness or below the poverty rate. That's terrible. Absolutely terrible. I mean, that means the majority of the people are poor. They don't know where their next meal is coming from. Why is homelessness 18% in the richest country in the world? And I'm going to give you the answer. It's 18% because we have the oligarchy taking over. The oligarchy in real estate, buying up or building homes only to rent out. The inflation. And let me just put it like this. The president really doesn't control inflation. It's just those greedy corporations, the CEOs that are raising prices up slowly. And, our minimum wage isn't raising up to be part of the means of the high inflation. You have real estate companies that buy up huge lots of land. And I can tell you here in Florida, they've been doing a lot of building to where homes that are there are being outpriced because of the homes that are being built, to where people are being priced out of homes. Like homes in Florida now, the average home, let's just say a 3-bedroom home, 1,600 square feet, maybe 2 bathrooms. That's like almost $400,000 now, $300 and some odd $1,000. And I'm grateful. I'm definitely grateful that my wife and I, we jumped on to being a homeowner before everything got out of whack. People can't even afford apartments. People can't afford apartments in America. That could be one of the reasons why homelessness has increased. And then also, people cannot get a livable wage because we still have the oligarchy out here that is controlling how the, how much they're going to pay employees. Even, I don't care, a warehouse job where the only thing you're doing is making and building up boxes, and you only get paid $7.25. As I'm hitting my mic. I love hitting my mic, man. I do. I just love hitting my mic. Whew. I tell you, man, troubling times, man. And I hope that Donald Trump does not do everything that he's claimed that he's going to do. And Project 2025 does not get off the ground and running. Because I'm going to tell you what, some of the people that voted for Trump, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say you guys, but hey, if you voted for the man, get my water. If you voted for the man and things start to go down the crapper, don't try to blame it on Biden. Oh, next topic I want to talk about is this weak guy named Mark Zuckerberg. He really tucked his tail, didn't he? This guy is going to start doing away with the fact checking when it comes to Facebook, Instagram, and Meta, only to get the misinformation and lies and everything else that is placed on X, to where it's a cesspool. It's a cesspool of racists, bigots, liars. And now we have Mr. Mark Zuckerberg, who also did away with DEI. Going to a community note. And let me tell you what a community note does. Let me pull it up really quick, because honestly, I honestly feel like a community note when it comes to a community note, anybody and everybody that doesn't know what they're talking about can post on there, and they can take a survey and all this kind of stuff. And how many scholars out of 1 million people are going to be on the right side and factual side of things? I can go outside now, and I know my grass is a little white because of we're in the winter time, and I can go out there and say my grass is white. But if 100 people say that my grass is green, that's going to be the correct thing. And wrong. That is not the correct thing. And that's how the community notes is going to be. Oh my goodness, boy, I tell you. Oh, that's going to be really, really interesting to get all the extra misinformation that's going to be out there. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to be out there. So I'm on CBS News right now. And on CBS News, let's just go down here and hopefully you can see it. But it says how community notes work. Meta hasn't released specifics about how it will empower users of Facebook, Instagram, and other social platforms to monitor content, says Melissa Matani, executive producer of CBS News, confirmed. On X, community notes work by leaving fact-checking up to the community. Approved contributors call out content deemed false or misleading by attaching notes provided more content. Here's an example. Here, let's take a look at this example real quick on CBS News here. Whales are not actually mammals. If humans, land mammals, can't drink seawater, just try it. How can you suppose sea mammals like whales stay hydrated? Whales indeed are mammals. Marine mammals are able to stay hydrated because their kidneys have evolved to excrete. I don't know what this is. Oh, let's just wait. Excrete more salt and reclaim more water than humans and many other mammals can. They also obtain water from their food. This is widely documented. For example, HTTP reputable. Now, let's just say somebody gets some community note from some misinformation platform to where 17 other people went to that same misinformation platform and the community note pops up and everybody has to agree with that because the community note says that 17 other people said that that same misinformation website was the correct thing. Listen, we can find misinformation everywhere. Honestly, we can go to one website that sorts an actual factual source, like a news reporter that was actually live on the scene, to where we can go to another platform. Wink, wink. There's a propaganda platform out there. They say they're news, but they're not. That completely strips out the true information in the narrative and bit and piece the incorrect information that is not factually completely correct. That's the type of community notes that we're going to get now. And then also, not only on top of that, there's going to be a lot of hate and vitriol on that platform, just like it is on X. I left X and went to Blue Sky because I could not stand the bigotry and the hatred that came from all across the board. And then seeing Elon's ugly face on there every time I would open up X to post something. And I've had to have debate battles and things like that too. But, you know, this is very dangerous, especially dangerous for people of color, people who are of the homosexuality or LGBTQIA, people who, you know, they're just trying to get by in life that people are trying to affect. I mean, sickening, honestly, sickening. Can't be gay in America. Oh my goodness, man. Oh my goodness. It is amazing. It is amazing how far down the rabbit hole people has gone. You know, I remember when I was like 12 years old playing football, and there was a girl that wanted to play, you know, tackle football as well. And her parents were okay with that. They were like, well, she loves the sport, so she wanted to try it out. And I thought to myself, well, this is interesting. But let me tell you something. I didn't have a problem with her playing because she was actually pretty decent too. She loved the sport. You know, she loved the sport and she wanted to play where she felt comfortable at. And she could hit. She could tackle like no other, man. Like she could literally, you know, lay some people out. I'm not gonna put out her name, but she was a white girl too. Oh man, yes, she could hit. Yeah. I don't have a problem with that. And the lies that come out about people being harassed by those particular type of people that lean that type of way with the LGBTQIA, they're lies, man. It's crazy. Not once have I ever experienced a woman going into a man's bathroom and a man going into a woman's bathroom. And I got two boys. And, you know, anytime my son has to go to the restroom, there's no woman coming out of the restroom that needs to be in the woman's restroom. It's crazy. It's crazy. People are sick, man. People are sick. And I'm not talking about those. I'm not talking about the LGBTQIA. I'm not talking about anybody in that particular area, because they're trying to live and they have the mental issues, possibly because of the hate and the emboldenment of hating these individuals, to where they don't know if they're safe stepping out of their door or going to go to a restaurant and sit down and eat without people bothering them. Mind your freaking business. As long as they're not affecting you and they're not trying to attack you, leave them alone. Plain and simple. Let me find this video of this man. This guy, he's something else. This was about, I guess, 5 or 6 years ago. But I came across some people talking about this individual, and he's a rich man. And he's also a friend of Trump's. His name is Dan Pena. Dan Pena. This guy was talking so dirty about homeless people, and he was showing his Christmas tree and all the presents down on his Christmas tree, and he had all these guys standing there in their suits and everything with their glass of Chardonnay, and he was just ragging homeless people that don't have money, people who are less fortunate than him. What a sick individual. I can't pull it up right now because, of course, I've been having technical difficulties today. But that's a sick individual. Just because you have money and sometimes people have to work their way up to be financially stable. But other times there are people that still struggle because of the biased or the hate or the wanting to keep them inferior to the next person. Sometimes people can't get a leg up like other people can, especially people of color can't, because we're vilified, we are profiled, we are personified as criminals as soon as we step out our door. You never know what kind of background I have. Could have been in the military, could have been a professional player, could have been a person that was very successful. Hatred, man, that's crazy. Hatred. Let me go back to Zuckerberg real quick, because I do want to say coward, billionaire. I want to say some other bad words, but I'm not going to because my family's in the other room. But coward, scaredy cat, man, scaredy cat. And I posted a little short about that. One of my guys, Jesse Dollarborn, ragged him, and I agree with him 100%. But yeah, Dan Pena, DANPE. That little swirly hyphen out. I forgot what it is. NA. Go and look at it. It's very rich. It's very rich with just the nastiness and the gluttony and the love of money. I wonder if he's a Christian man. I do have one more thing to talk about before we roll out, and this is hilarious because this is actually interesting to me because it happened in my state. But I am gonna bring you guys' attention to this because this is, like I said, this is, boy oh boy. But our tax dollars go to people that don't deserve it. They do. I'm talking about, corrupt people that are in our first responders, suits and uniforms. I'm talking about people in politics and everything else. So you might have seen it when I was scrolling on here, and you probably reverse back to see what it says here. But I was watching my guy, the logical leftist here, named Jeff Waldorf, and he was talking about this particular individual. This is I'm going to call him a Florida man. This is a Florida man who was a cop, maybe a cop again in the future. But yeah, this is a very interesting story. So hang tight with it because, boy, oh boy, the Florida man is just not the ones that are coked out on drugs or do the craziest things like trying to eat a alligator or fight an alligator in the middle of a bar or trying to jump in a swamp with them. But a deputy crashes patrol car. This comes from the KKTV.com news 11 break. Deputy crashes patrol car into another vehicle while watching. You see it, and this happened before Thanksgiving. Oh my goodness, this was about 2 months ago. Oh yeah, about 2 months ago. But anyways, this deputy here, Florida sheriff's deputy, has resigned from his job after he crashed into a civilian's car. You know what happened? There was a school bus that was stopped, and the civilian car was stopped there too because, of course, you got to stop when that little sign come out. And this cop rear-ended or crashed into the back of the other vehicle, right? And then he wanted to make it up, saying that he was, chatting or something in regards to the other police officers or whatnot. But lo and behold, when it all came down to it, this guy was watching some nasty stuff while he was driving a police vehicle. Let's go down here. Deputy Tristan McComber was looking at something not safe for work before the crash happened. The deputy crashed in early November 2024 while driving south on County Road 435. His body-worn camera captured the steering wheel airbag deploying after his department-issued cruiser crashed in the back of another car. He lied and said the brakes locked up. This guy lied and said the brakes locked up. And then after an investigation, this guy resigned, right? He'll get another job somewhere. This guy resigned. He wasn't truthful because he was looking on his phone. He's looking at some nasty stuff, some dirty stuff. Come on now, really? Really? This is what our tax dollars go to here in Florida? Oh boy. That's what we have to deal with when it comes to, people who are in uniform that, of course, I don't know how much this individual was being paid. However, this particular officer here was doing something that they weren't supposed to do. Just like there are quite a few other officers that do crimes and things and then try to cover it up and make it up. But this is what we have to deal with when it comes to people without morals. Get help, man. Get help. That's all I got to say on that. But I'm wrapping this up. This is the Just Listen podcast. I love doing this. I love having fun while doing this. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You'd have a lot of fun with me. Post a comment in the section. Post a comment in the comment section. What you think? And if you were trying to catch me earlier today, I do apologize. Like I said, technical difficulties that I'll have to get figured out and fixed pretty soon. Be blessed. Take care. Peace out.